Hey guys, Hades here. Now, I've already done this live. I would just like to see who would prefer a non live edition of this. Because I've done it live and I've done a lot of my side notes, I'm going to try to quickly go through this. So it might be a little shorter than normal. All right, what do you think we are going to talk about today? What is a parasite? And what would you rather talk about today? Here's a picture that is not real, that's from a film. Parasitism is a non mutually symbiotic relationship between two species where the parasite uses the host to live while it benefits and the host does not. Now, basically, that means it's a parasite is a creature that lives on or in another creature and often hurts that creature or at a bare minimum does not benefit that creature. On the top there, we've got, I believe, a tapeworm, and on the bottom is a flea. What types of parasites do you know? Parasites can be divided into two categories, ectoparasites and endoparasites. And on the right here, that little creature lives in a fish's mouth, and basically he'll sometimes eat away the tongue of the fish and replace the tongue of the fish. So actually, after that little parasite does that, the fish can no longer live without the parasite because its tongue is gone. All right, tell me what you think the difference between the two categories is. Ectoparasites are parasites that live on the outside of the host, either on the skin or in the hair. And that creature on the right is a tick. And I talk a little bit more about the tick in the live lesson if you're interested in that. What are some types of ectoparasites that you are aware of? While ectoparasites live outside the host body, endoparasites live within. Intracellular parasites live in areas outside of one's cells, while intracellular parasites actually inhabit the host at a cellular level. Most diseases are forms of parasites. What ways do you know of that people and other animals defend against parasites naturally? Skin is the best defense against parasites, but obviously not 100% effective, and some parasites like to live on the skin. But it's difficult for some of them to get through your skin. Also, your stomach is very good at defending against parasites. It creates an acid that will kill most parasites that enter through one's body if they go through the mouth. They'll land in the stomach and get eaten up by the acid. Of course, not all parasites, but it does defend against some of them. Your immune system is also another defense against parasites. It's made up of different families of molecules that occur naturally in vertebrates by seeking out and destroying alien elements that have entered one's body. Right? An example of that would be your white blood cells that do attack other things in your body that don't belong there. Okay, in addition to parasitic relationships, we also have symbiotic relationships. In a mutually symbiotic relationship, the host creature and other non-parasitical creature mutually benefit from each other's. The best example is the clownfish and the plant it likes to live in the ocean. I explain that more in the live version. Parasites are not mutually symbiotic. Can humans be parasites? Why would we call a human a parasite? What does literal mean? What does figurative mean? Literal meaning is the exact dictionary definition of a word or phrase that does not change in context. Humans cannot literally be parasites. Figurative meaning is creative, often slang or analogies or idioms. Figurative meanings can change sometimes depending on the context. Humans can figuratively be parasites. If one were to call a human a parasite, that person will often be said to be exploiting others, taking but not giving. Here's a random image in some of my random PowerPoints. I often have random images. What does grammar mean exactly? What other aspects of language, primarily English, should you focus on while learning? And this is personal for you. What is your biggest problem with speaking English? Grammar means the study of the words in a particular language and how they go together to create sentences based on the rules of that language. I, Hades, or you could call me Jason, I think that is important. There are a lot of different thoughts and theories on language, so you'll often get some contradiction when looking at different theories of language. What is pronunciation? What is fluency? What is vocabulary? Vocabulary is often used to refer to the number of words one knows. That's a very simple definition of it. I feel that is a little less important. Fluency refers to how well one can speak a language. I feel fluency is quite important. Pronunciation is the ability to say the sounds of a word correctly. I feel pronunciation is a little less important. I explain this more in the live class of this if you're interested. What does spelling mean? What does punctuation mean? What does syntax mean? Spelling is putting the proper letter in the proper place in a word. Punctuation is the use of symbols to indicate a variety of things in one's writing. Both are important, but punctuation is more important, I think. Really quickly, let's look at these. Let's eat Grandpa and let's eat Grandpa. In the first one, basically, let's eat Grandpa means you want to eat your grandfather, consume your grandfather. In the second one, let's eat Grandpa, that means you're suggesting to your grandfather that you would like to eat. So I think punctuation is important. Okay, syntax is a little complicated. Basically a part of grammar, the way something is said, primarily the difference between active and passive, or the difference between declarative, interrogative, exclamatory, or imperative. Okay, let's go through this quickly. First, we'll look at active and passive, right? Active, he killed Jason. Passive, Jason was killed by him. For these, basically, we'll look at them. Most sentences are active. He killed Jason. Passive, Jason was killed by him. Two reasons to use passive. One, you want to take the object of the sentence, Jason, and make it more important, right? Jason was killed by him, making Jason the subject of the sentence. Another reason to use passive would be if you don't know who or what the subject is, right? We could just say Jason was killed, and that's a good sentence. If we don't know by whom, right? So that's another reason to use passive. Keep in mind, most of the time we use active. Then we have these others here: declarative, interrogative, exclamatory, and imperative. Declarative is most sentences we use, just stating something, right? I'm hungry. I ate lunch. Most things we say would be declarative. Interrogatives are questions. Now, I talk about interrogatives in another lesson as parts of speech, but here, interrogatives, different definition. An interrogative is any question. How are you? Exclamatory, when you're exclaiming something, using an exclamation point, right? I hate you. You suck. Other things are exclamatory. And imperative is giving a command or an order, right? Go to your room now, or give me that, right? Ordering someone to do something are imperatives. Okay, guys, here's a random image. Yeah, so this is one I just got online. We're going to stop this one here. I'm going to divide it in two. This is less than half the slides, but usually it is most of what I talk about. It takes more than half the time of the class. So we're going to stop right here. And pretty soon I'll release the second one. And keep in mind, I have a live version of the whole class you could watch. I go a little slower, but some people have said my lessons are too slow. So I'm trying to pick up the pace with this. So you could check out the live version if you want a little slower. All right, thank you guys. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.